being live streamed.
There you go.
It's all happening. It's how it begins. Nothing can begin until she says so.
I know.
I wonder how much market research they do before they're like, okay, this is what the voice should sound like.
That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Because they had a meeting about that shit.
It's a very pleasant voice. Let's just put it that way. Oh man, by the way, and YouTubers, you're going to hear this, and Facebookers aren't going to hear this. Dude, you're going to have to lead the way tonight, man. I literally came in hot, brother. Like, came in and
it's all good. And for the Facebook people who literally just came in on that one, know that we go. Evan had a long day at work, and
it's all my bad.
Is crushing it though. No. Professor, was this professor duties or getting your doctorate duties?
Yeah, professor duties.
Professor duties,
my friend. Yes.
You took a professor duty.
No, I knew it was coming. Yeah, there you go.
Also, let's just get it out of the way real quick. Your boys had a nice win. I like your shirt. Unfortunately, you got a couple guys injured, but did you see this shit today?
No.
Man.
What happened?
Check out the highlights. Well, United, on one hand, you could say played a bit of poo-poo in the first half because they gave up 2 goals. They could have scored a couple goals themselves, but a whole other team took the field in the second half and just wiped everything in front of them and ended up winning the match 3-2 with a goal from who. Rashford took a sweet goal. Well, Rashford scored the first goal.
Oh, well, okay. Yes.
And then who scored the second? I can't recall who scored the second, but yes, of course, Ronaldo came away with the win. But I'll say this, David De Gea made an awesome double save, and without it, Cristiano doesn't get to score the game winner. So
wow.
So
yes, Troy, we really are live at 9 p.m. This is crazy. And guys, listen, this is I will totally take the blame for this. Man, work has been crazy, but yeah, thanks for joining us late. Brother, thanks for making the adjustments so we can talk, man.
What's up, IO? It can't be that late. Come on. Okay, this is an opportunity for you to put the kids to bed and have a mocktail and join us.
There you go. Right. Exactly. Join us. So where should we start this?
Well, I thought about this as the halftime, but I think he deserves a little bit more. So I'm just going to go ahead and raise a glass right away. And this may be a surprise to some of you who think I'm some sort of hardcore lefty out there.
Yeah, but, I know where you're going.
Colin Powell passed, unfortunately, and he was a great American. He had his flaws, and I criticized him in the moment, and I can still say that there's some things I didn't agree with, but the man did his duty for the country and really deserves our thanks and our praise. And just all manner of dignity for him. And I will toast to Colin Powell. And then say, sometimes all you have to do to be a good human being is to not say a word, to shut the fuck up.
That's true. That is very true, man. Wow.
And there's a certain person who couldn't do that, who had to disparage yet another patriot, demonstrating once again his own cowardice, unwillingness to stand up for the ideals of this country that men like John McCain and Colin Powell did on a daily basis. And I'm not even going to speak his name. We all knew who I'm talking about. It's disgusting.
Deplorable.
It's disgusting. And you can contrast that with the other former president's words about Colin Powell and actually having him on his staff, and the endorsement he got and the conversations they had as men, as leaders, and as Black American men in the 21st century. And I would have liked to have been a fly on the wall. But to Colin Powell.
Yeah, here's the thing. It is so maddening that people are so blind. We talk about this every week. It's every fucking week, man. And we talk about this, and it's just, he cannot help himself. He can't help himself, man. I mean,
No,
it literally is who he is. It is who he is. And so
all we can hope is that he ultimately disgusts enough people. I mean, I don't understand how he doesn't already. But you know, another aspect of this is Colin Powell died of complications from COVID.
yeah,
And a lot of people immediately were like, see, you know, the vaccines don't work, blah, 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 blah. And don't want to look into the fact that he's exactly one of the people that we're talking about as to why everybody should be getting vaccinated, is because the man's immunocompromised because he was being treated for cancerous myeloma. I don't know what the fuck that is, but I know it caused problems in his body.
yeah.
And, you know, the vaccine's not a cure-all, folks.
No one ever said it was.
No.
That's the
and
issue.
and you know, well, if the former guy would have said it while it was in production, they'd have believed it. But yeah, Troy, that's good to mention too. He was Jamaican. I believe it was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. Gave a really touching speech about Colin Powell. And you know, showed his appreciation and love for him going on to be you know, a statesman or a leader in America. I guess a statesman.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, he served proudly, and he's pretty much what you want.
Well, I think
In a
that
modern leader.
what we can do is draw a line from, hey Kool-Aid orange man to the other hey Kool-Aid man that is refusing to testify. And I think that Steve Bannon, I don't know, I'd love to get your take on this, my friend. But I think Steve Bannon has painted himself into a corner here somewhat. I'm not sure he's going to be able to avoid testifying. I'm not sure he's going to be able to avoid getting in trouble for refusing to do so. Um, what repercussions do you think he's facing here, man?
Well, I think you know, I like to read some, you know, more legally minded stuff on this, not just getting, you know, what your typical news analysts. So, you know,
Right?
when they bring in, you know, hey, I'm a Harvard law professor or what have you, or, you know, people who've worked on legal teams, shit like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said it does seem like it was a bad move, because had he just gone and testified in the moment, he would have had an easier time of saying, you know, I'm invoking executive privilege or what have you, because there would be no repercussion in the moment, and then you got to figure out how to bring him back by
Go and
choosing
plead the fifth.
not to do this. When you know, he's claiming it's you know, executive privilege and all this stuff, and the problem is they're asking for things that have nothing to do with Donald Trump at all. So that wouldn't be protected by it. And his outright refusal, I think, puts him in contempt. Now, can they compel him to testify, and would he give any information that would be valuable? Steve Bannon, I hate to say it, is a pretty smart fucking guy.
Sure.
He has
Sure.
used his powers for evil, that is for sure. But he's a pretty smart guy,
Yeah.
and I don't think you're going to get much from him. Much like Trump's, you know, deposition the other day on Monday. They know how to say a lot without saying a damn thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it I don't know how satisfying it'll be if Steve Bannon just goes to jail because he refused to talk. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think the man deserves to be behind bars, but I'd love to see him marched off in an orange jumpsuit, responsible for A, B, C, D, E, F,
Yeah.
G,
Yeah.
rather than refusing to talk about those things. I
Sure.
want him convicted of the things he's I believe is, you know, most likely guilty of. I'd like to see
Mm-hmm.
all of them go. I don't know. I think people hoping for that to come out of this might be disappointed. I mean, he may go to jail, but he may go to jail for, you know, 6 months or 9 months, because he, you know, is in contempt of Congress, not
Yeah.
for any nefarious act.
Yeah. I still believe that they have the most capable legal team available. And I think that, this is one of the reasons why they've skipped out of repercussions so far. And it is, yeah, it's infuriating, but it's becoming more and more like, I don't know if accepted is the word. It's like not accepted, but just kind of like, yeah, okay, saw that one coming. It's like it's just like there are no consequences. There's no repercussions. But you've got to believe, guys like Merrick Garland and these guys are working behind the scenes. I don't know.
There's a lot of
I don't know.
criticism that Garland doesn't have the stomach to go for Trump. So that's
Wow.
why I think that's why in some ways, they're trying to find some concrete stuff in Congress and, that they wouldn't need the Department of Justice for. I don't know how that would necessarily work. I mean, I guess what you look at is, if you can prove, their outright culpability for certain things, I don't understand, if this were you and I getting rung up for, I don't know, trafficking of any substance we shouldn't be, they'd seize our phone records in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Aside from the fact that all these guys were using WhatsApp, which
Parlor.
no, they were using WhatsApp, which is owned
WhatsApp.
by who owns WhatsApp? Who owns WhatsApp, everybody?
That'd be
Facebook.
Oh.
Yeah. Facebook owns WhatsApp. And as we know, there's at least some sort of relationship going on there. Certainly I'll look the other way kind of relationship because I'm making billions of dollars off of it. So, and WhatsApp is an encrypted communications application. So,
Wow.
but we also know that they use their phones to call the Russians and take calls from Ukraine and shit like that. So, if the NSA is listening, maybe go to work, guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, great. We're on the blacklist now, as if we weren't already. Just taking that down the road, my friend, and diving into something that that I like to dive into. I'm going to have faith and I'm going to trust that the system is working. Are we or are we not going to get this deal done for this bill, man? I don't know that I don't know if we're going to get it done. I think that, from day one, McConnell was the one saying that their sole purpose is to make sure that this administration is not successful in passing any legislation, which, I will give it to him. I mean, they are standing by their word. They really are. Cinema, Manchin, I don't know. No, I take that back. We do know what they're doing.
Okay, you're talking about the Build Back Better.
Build Back Better. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because you saw what happened today, right?
I know, no, and that's why I'm like, dude, you're gonna have to lead this. I've been in, academia all day long.
As one gigantic unit, the GOP filibustered the Voting Rights Act. Now, there are some who believe that this vote was called specifically so the GOP would filibuster and be seen as uniformly opposed to the Voting Rights Act and willing to use the filibuster for it and gin up popularity to get rid of the filibuster. And after the filibuster is gone, they would then be able to do the Build Back Better and everything else.
So it's a calculated thing, supposedly, where everybody's working together.
Well, it was, brought to the floor, and I don't know what the House that typically goes first. So that's Pelosi.
Yeah.
Pelosi. Yeah, but that's Pelosi, and we're
right.
Democrats. I said we shouldn't say that. Democrats are in charge of the House, and therefore Nancy Pelosi is in charge of the House, so she gets to determine what bills get brought to the floor. She knows the GOP is going to filibuster the bill and come out in direct opposition to it. Now they're all on record, and the public doesn't oppose the concept, and you can get, hopefully Manchin and Sinema on board with some aspect of ending the filibuster.
Okay. Okay.
I believe that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are as crafty as Mitch McConnell. I think they lack the following that, or I don't know what the power that he wields, whatever, but we've seen Pelosi pull off some good tricks over the last few years, especially while we weren't in power. And let's see how this works. They've got until November of 2021 to accomplish some things. And if between now and then the economy continues to recover, we don't have too many spikes of COVID. We need people to go back and start taking some jobs so we can get, the production line moving again. But, if people start seeing roads getting built and, jobs coming back and, a voting rights act, basically if the Democrats show some balls,
right,
which they're a little reluctant to do.
Well, and with the whole job thing, dude, I mean, there's so many things that that go into play there. And we both know that is that, you have these corporations making these huge profits. And literally, I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of this. I see why people are like, screw that. We're not going back because, I'm making, $12 an hour. And the CEO of the company I work for just had, a $16 million, bonus this year. I get it. I do. I don't know what to say though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say. Like until America, reduces its dependence upon capitalism, until we're able to actually have, the type of heart that we had during the New Deal, to where it was like, hey, we truly are in this together. Let's spend these, $400-500 billion, and let's actually have it, go to people rather than like we did in 2008, where we spent $440 billion and 40 billion of it went to, people, but 400 billion went to bail out banks.
Yeah.
It's like, let's try New Deal stuff. I don't know. That's just me.
I'm a little surprised that they haven't gone harder on the climate side of things, because the Green New Deal needs to be sold as not just good for the environment, but good for the economy, good for job building, good for education, and really good in all these aspects. And I agree with you that they've not really done a very good job. But I'd also say Joe Biden's a bit at fault. I think Joe should be out on the trail and stumping for this Build Back Better plan. You can't just tweet about it. You can't be a nice guy tweeting. The last guy knew how to rile people up, and Joe is, Joe's a hard worker, and Joe has shown up and done the job, but this job now calls for some charisma and a little salesmanship. And he needs to bust that out. He needs to bust out the talk about being a blue collar kid from, Pennsylvania, and saying that, when the jobs come along, people will work them, but you also can't treat people like shit,
Right.
Forever people, would hear servers complaining about, how nasty people were to them, and, the low pay and all that stuff. And the refrain was, well, if you don't like it, go get another job. Well, guess what? During all this, they left and said, fuck it, I'm not going back to this industry where I get paid shit, and people are going to yell at a 15-year-old girl for trying to enforce a mask policy, you know, that she didn't create, and shouldn't really having to be telling a grown ass man to put a mask on if he knows damn well that there's a mask mandate. There's a sign on the door. So yeah, I mean, maybe this was something he should have, delegated to Kamala. You know, if Joe Biden doesn't have the energy for it to get out there, and Troy, you don't have to apologize.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think he's going to resign.
No.
You don't have to apologize for having an opposing viewpoint. I see a lot of it. You know, I don't think he's doing a bad job. He's putting forth the legislation that needs to be done, and he's making the case for why. I just don't think he's done it, in prime time the way he needs to. I mean, I think he needs to be, and he doesn't have to hit 3 cities in a day, but he does need to be showing up in Detroit, in Green Bay, and West Virginia. And, look, people, coal's not coming back, and oil is destructive. So, and we're not telling people they can't. In fact, the answer is give tax incentives to oil companies to shift their manufacturing. And look at the companies now that are for it. You've got Exxon and all these other companies that were holdouts for the longest time, who now recognize, the future is alternative fuels. You've got massive car manufacturers all across Europe and Asia, and now the United States are recognizing this is the shift. This is what needs to be done for a variety of reasons. This shouldn't be that hard to sell,
I think that, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I never understood why, if you want to convince Americans, hey, let's get out of Saudi Arabia and let's get out of the Middle East and all this stuff. We don't want to fund terrorism. Well, buy a fucking electric vehicle.
Yeah, exactly.
Every time you go to the pump, who do you think's getting your money? So,
exactly.
You talk about these things, but the action, the reality is not that difficult to do, but their rhetoric is so anti that it doesn't matter. Like, we need to figure out how to play the, yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. No, you're not. Oh,
you're right.
The cartoon game,
if
all you're going to do is stand in opposition, I got to figure out how to get you to do a thing I want you to do.
Yeah. I think that we kind of are dancing around it, and Troy said it, and this is my thought, man. I'm like, Joe right now is the focus, because once again, going back to our original comments, McConnell said, no way, we're not supporting him. Send Kamala.
Yeah.
Send Kamala, man, send her. And think about this. If the Republicans start to turn their sights on her because she's out there and she's doing, she's pushing, and she's, kind of showing people, hey, we need to do this thing. That's not only going to fire up, I think, that's not only going to fire up Joe and the Democrats, but you got to believe that now you're starting to attack a woman who's out there talking about something that actually matters.
Yeah.
Something that actually can change a lot of lives in America. So I think that, by switching that strategy up, let Kamala be Kamala and do her thing, get her out there. You know what I mean? It just seems like she's been in the background for a while, working on some things behind the scenes. He needs to get her out there. That's what I think.
If he was not going to let her run with the ball of something that was one of her talking points, one of her agenda pieces, I'll be honest, I think there's a case to be made that she'd be really good to be out there talking about the need for criminal justice reform. She's worked in the industry, and she's already had to take the lumps on the thing that she did while I believe she was a prosecutor or something like that.
Right.
So she can easily deflect those questions. And now she can say, look, we're moving forward, and I'm coming to you as somebody who has lived the Black experience in America, but has also worked in the criminal justice system. And
has learned as I've worked in it.
These are the flaws that everybody sees. No one looks at this and doesn't see these issues. So let's grab that low hanging fruit. And along the way, we can have a conversation about, if we're going to have police reform, what form does that take? Maybe defund the police wasn't the greatest slogan, but here's what it means now. Here's what we really want to do. We're not saying we want to eliminate police forces everywhere.
Right.
We're saying we want to right size them, to use, the parlance of the business world. But at the same time, say, look, you've taken criticism across this country and you need to acknowledge it. We're not sitting here saying every cop is a bad cop, but if you won't root them out yourselves, you're forcing us to take action. And that action, you're never going to like that action. So come to the table with your suggestions. What reform training are you going to do? Are you going to give up what's where they basically can't be prosecuted?
Immunity. What is it called? Something immunity. Anyway.
Yeah,
man. Okay.
Stuff like that. That's she'd be great for it.
Yes,
and if we're not going to put her out front and for things like that, and the Build Back Better initiative and the voting rights initiatives are front and center, then you got to give her one of them, because I don't know what she's doing right now.
I agree. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have moved into halftime. Qualified. Thank you, Io. Qualified immunity.
Knew we'd get there.
Moved into halftime. And so, ladies and gentlemen, grab your halftime shots. Aaron, what do you got this week? Who are you dedicating your halftime shot to, my friend?
This has been just a tough year, and a year of loss. So some of you may have gotten to meet my little old furry buddy Baxter, and he was a good boy. And unfortunately, things ended pretty quickly. He'd been showing some signs of age, but yesterday, unfortunately, kind of came out of the blue, and it was the day. So we took him in and we said our goodbyes and we hugged him, and hopefully he is somewhere romping around with my kitty cat and our old dog Murph, and all the other happy pets of the world. So my cheers is to my doggy Baxter.
Oh man, I tell you what, to be an angel in charge of that part of heaven, man, I'm telling you, that would be awesome right there, brother.
Yes.
So you know what? To Baxter, my friend.
To Baxter, thank you. Slanty.
Blanky.
Okay.
Moving on.
I think this still has value. The whole John Gruden thing is a couple weeks old. Didn't really get a chance to talk about it in the moment. And the truth is, if you're really honest with yourself, you're not terribly surprised that John Gruden, of all the coaches in the NFL, used racist, homophobic, and misogynistic speech in an email.
I think it is look about him.
Well, he is Chucky. But I think what is most shocking isn't so much the language, because that's the language of that particular type of person. But it was the casualness of him saying that to the general manager of a team in the league, which is here's that phrase some of you are going to hate, but it's a form of white privilege. He knew he wasn't going to lose his job. He may have even believed that Mark Davis shared those beliefs. And it wasn't one email 10 years ago. It's hundreds of emails. And I think the larger conversation at play here is he openly said Colin Kaepernick should be kicked out of the league. And, the NFL is investigating, and it's internal, and they're very good at keeping their own secrets. So we may never know the truth, but if he was saying that openly, what were the owners saying openly? It's pretty obvious they colluded to keep him out of the league from this point. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at some of the guys still playing quarterback in the league right now. And I mean, it's just a joke. So when you read that, were you shocked? And then to learn about, to take it to the Kaepernick level. I mean,
I am I'm going to invoke my inner Shannon Sharp. Go. No, wasn't surprised. Wasn't surprised. No, I wasn't. No air. Here's what's interesting about all this. Of course, thinking in terms of history, being a historian. I say this with all sincerity. If the NFL truly has an investigation that is done by outside parties to come in and look at it, and if the NFL's found, which I 100% believe that they will be, if it's done correctly, if they're found liable for ending this man's career, this very well could be the first time we ever get to see the true, circle of reparations.
Yeah.
Okay. Like literally, you have taken this man's livelihood away. You have taken it away. He is not earning money doing the thing that he has trained his entire life to do because you blackballed him. I'm once again, and we've talked about reparations before, man, but I'm not, I'll take a check. That's fine. But I'm not an advocate for, I'm not an advocate for just, doing this and stuff like that. There are other ways. I would rather build wealth than be rich.
Yeah.
And I think that's a whole nother conversation within itself. But I think that if we look at this and we look at how the NFL, not only followed suit with Major League Baseball and, Marion Motley and Jim Brown and, those guys, I just lost it. Darn it. Anyway, those guys like that who busted into the league and suffered and had to be quiet all those years, had to be quiet and not say a damn thing. Marion Motley told stories about how, the opposing players, while he's pushing himself up off the ground, would step on his hand purposely with cleats, and he'd look up at the ref. The ref's looking down at him and looking and saying, "What do you want me to do about it?" And he couldn't say a word. He couldn't say anything. Yep. So I think that when we look at everything in the context of the NFL is just like America. They've kicked this can down the road. And guess what? You are now reaping what you have sown. You are now reaping the repercussions of not addressing this earlier, of not trying to root this out, of not trying to, save a man's career.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with him, Roger Goodell. You don't have to agree with him.
Right.
To actively allow this to happen. And you can't tell me that Goodell didn't see these emails. You can't tell me that the NFL didn't know about these emails before now. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Because a corporation as deeply rooted as the NFL, they know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
They know what's happening. I'm sorry, they do. And so when you start looking closely into this, then you got to start looking at your boy, Robert Kraft. You got to start looking at your boy, Jerry Jones. You got to start looking at, got to start looking at all this stuff, man.
Jerry Jones.
Oh my God.
Has said some shit.
Come on, man. He has. And here's the thing is that most of those guys will probably get away with it because it was before documentation like this.
Yeah.
It was before that. They could say whatever they wanted to say, and sitting around just smoking cigars and, hey, look at all these bleepity bleeps I have on my team. They're making me all kinds of money. It's sickening. It's sickening.
It does not make sense from a success standpoint. I mean, you trusted them to win you football games as players, and every player at least knows a little bit to pass it back on, right? Not every great player goes on to be a great manager, but lots
Sure.
of players go on to be very good coaches, youth coach,
Mhm.
defensive team coach,
Yeah.
whatever, in every sport. And the NFL is what, like 65, 70% black players. And I guess there's a decent number of like defensive coordinators and stuff like that. But the fact that so few get promoted to head coaching positions seems more than a little coincidental.
Yeah. Yeah. I just,
Hey, Eft, you're cute and all, but you just lost two of your best players today. So we'll see how the weekend goes.
oh,
Also, that's a funny joke.
yes.
That's a funny joke. They played poopy.
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh, that was
Actually,
nice.
Pogba came on and played pretty well in that game. Ronaldo didn't do anything.
Oh, staff.
Yeah.
There you go.
No.
Hey, but you know me, man. I'm all about the rivalry, man. I don't rub it in.
Oh no, it's all good. Also, it's October.
It's right. It's October, man.
Let's talk on Boxing Day. Boxing Day to me is when you're turning that corner.
Okay. But keeping with the theme of sports ball, big game in Bloomington this weekend, man. And I'm telling you, I know I use 2 and 4. I get it. I know they are. But every time we come to town, every time Ohio State comes to town, it is literally it's a dogfight, man. It's a dogfight. And here's the thing. IU was supposed to be really, really good this year, so they're pissed.
Yeah.
They're pissed.
Mm-hmm. The problem is they just don't have the weaponry. I mean, they're literally missing their best players aside from the captain. I mean, McFadden's doing what he can. But Tuttle's not a bad quarterback, but Penix makes them so mobile. And then whoever is it, the running back or the receiver that's hurt. So, when the next guy up is hurt too, I mean, is like, gutsy performance, from the Colts a week or so ago, not the Texans when the Texans suck.
Right.
But who'd they play?
The Colts?
Yeah. Ravens, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, we needed them. The Browns fans needed them to beat the Ravens.
Colts got up and looked good, and Amy was like, "Oh, this is nice." I was like, "Oh, this dude's a badass. There's a lot of time left in this game," and then all of a sudden, it was just over and done with. But you look at the problem, and the problem was the Colts were down to guys in the secondary that were practice squad dudes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't. They can come in and be badass all they want, but they didn't even. They're the guys getting picked on in practice. And I mean, we talking about practice, Evan. Practice.
All right, Iverson. All right. All right, AI. We're talking about practice. Dude, let me finish this thought about Ohio State, and then I want to talk about the MFL. Ohio State, I think you're right. I think they win. I think they win the game, but I'm sorry. I still think IU rises to the occasion. I think they play tough. They play strong. I think Ohio State pulls away in the fourth. That's what I think.
Yeah, much like F said, with they played Sparty tough. You can see the team coalescing around one another. But at the end of the day, this game is about the what are you going to use? 30-some players in the game?
Yeah.
And IU doesn't have, they don't have that kind of depth. And Ohio State's the kind of team that if they don't knock somebody clean out of the game, they're going to knock you out for a couple plays. They're going to hit you. Ohio State comes with the thunder, and there's going to be a moment when whoever the running back is like, you know what, I need a break, coach. And that's that's that next level shit. And IU's trying to get there. And it's, it's an unfortunate setback of a year,
man.
because
if Penix was healthy from the very beginning, man. I mean, there's so many ifs.
He was not ready. He was not ready to play.
He wasn't.
And because of that, he threw interceptions against Iowa because he's throwing off his back foot. I mean, making very, very high school freshman kind of plays. But he was also trying to make plays on an unhealthy body. I'd say the same, different players, but I'd say that was the problem that Carson Wentz had early in the season too. He was trying to make plays on a body that just wouldn't help. You can tell these last couple of weeks, he's healthier. He's got a cannon. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. He's playing better. It's as if, with Penix, it's almost like, what you were saying last season about Rashford. If Man U would have played Rashford just because he was Rashford and didn't let him actually sit and rest, and I could see the same thing happening with the Euros. If they didn't hold Rashford back and didn't play, I think that Rashford would be in the same position. He wouldn't be the Marcus Rashford we know, because Rashford is now playing with a nearly fully healthy body.
Yeah,
like he is playing with, and I think, unfortunately for Michael Penix, you're right. It seems like Tom Allen rushed it.
Yeah.
Because of the expectation for this season. I totally get it. But a caliber player like Michael Penix is kind of like, and I'm not saying he is, but it's kind of like a Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is just that special type of player that even if he is hurt, he's still going to give you an incredible performance. He's still going to give you an incredible game. Penix can be like that, but he's not like that yet. I'll take Penix over. Wow, there you go. That's a good commentary right there, Steph.
It doesn't get any better than that.
Okay, so Steph actually says, Troy said, Evan, IU hosted Ohio State in the football of the world. How was that? Yeah, that was good. Steph actually says, here's the thing: IU's defense against Buckeyes offense, 50+ points a game versus the defense of the lowest scoring game of the year so far, IU MSU. Yeah, that'll be interesting. That'll be an interesting kind of matchup to look out for. So yeah, there you go. I'm excited. You're going to the game, aren't you? Are you?
We are.
Are you not?
We're not now. No,
Okay.
It was the plan. It's just so many things have kind of changed over the last little bit. But
sure.
Yeah.
I will be probably somewhat inebriated from watching Oklahoma destroy Kansas earlier that day. So I will not be driving anywhere. I will be enjoying the Ohio State game on a couch.
Nice.
So there you go.
Nice.
Yeah. So my friend, I would like to dive into my favorite part of the show.
Yes.
And that would be the Hey Aaron segment.
Let's do it.
And you guys tonight, I'm telling you, this is a special for the entire month of October. I was going to be doing Halloween stuff for this entire month, and I have an unprecedented Hey Aaron segment for tonight. Aaron, I am going to play several trailers from movies, from horror movies, and I want you to kind of give commentary about these movies with the volume down somewhat.
Okay. Now, I should clarify two things.
Please do. Okay.
When I was a kid, I'd go hang out at my best friend's house on like Friday and Saturday nights. I'd spend the night, and it was kind of a tradition. We'd go get his dad, who was friends with my dad growing up. We'd go to the video store and we'd rent like a slasher movie.
Oh,
and like
nice.
And like a booby movie. Remember, like 80s, like.
Weren't they the same? Like, wasn't it? Yeah.
In a lot of ways, there were. Like,
I'm just saying.
I think they used similar footage from each film and then just added blood to one of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then we'd go get like Chinese takeout or a pizza or something like that. And we'd come back, and
was your friend's dad's name Red? Were you guys hanging out in the
No.
In the basement.
No.
Jeez.
But we would come back and we would watch the horror flick, and then we'd put on the booby movie. And those horror movies were terrible at the time. They're super predictable, not really great graphics and stuff like that. Horror movies now are fucking scary as shit and super realistic and really kind of sadistic and fucked in the head. And I'm not a horror movie fan.
I
don't like haunted houses.
Love.
Do you really?
I do.
Are you a fan of the Saw franchise and all that? You are? You aren't? You've either seen them all or you've not seen any of them.
The first trailer, my friend.
Okay. Let's get after it. Let's go right for it.
Someone there? I can hear you.
It's so awesome.
Who is that? Who's in there?
So is this the newest one?
No.
Okay, so I can't. The wording is blurry. So this is the ridiculous they were being.
Yeah,
as far as I can tell, the newest version of Saw that's coming out thinks it's the most high-minded one yet, with Chris Rock and whoever else in it.
See, I haven't seen it.
It may very well. Well, I haven't either, and I'm not going to. But honestly, I think one of the best horror movies of all time is Seven, because it's psychological. It's got the right amount of gore in it and the right amount of pulling away from the gore, because nothing is scarier and more ridiculous than what your own brain will think of. So when you see the reveal that the guy has been forced to wear this bodysuit with a gigantic knife for a penis, and he tells you what happened. All they needed to show you was blood on the bed. Your mind did the rest for you, and there's nothing any horror movie could do to be worse than that.
Oh man, no, that almost I was teetering. I was like, okay, do I call it a horror movie or is it a psychological thriller? It's almost like Silence of the Lambs, right? I mean, it's like the whole like, that's
a pretty fucking fine line. I mean, is it a horror movie based on how many people get killed or how gorily they get killed? If that's the case, then okay, that's fair. But I mean,
I don't know.
Seven is horrific at times.
Yes, absolutely. All right, my friend, endure it.
Waited for him.
How can this motherfucker not be killed? Like, what am I missing? Is he a superhero? Why can't we turn him into a good superhero? Like, yeah, he likes to kill shit, but like, let's give him whatever he needs and then turn him loose on the bad people in the world. I mean, wouldn't it be awesome? Like, fuck a Russian spy. He's just gonna walk right into Putin's front room and be like, "You can't fucking kill me. I'm gonna slow walk Putin's shirtless horse riding ass down."
But here's what's beautiful about this franchise. Wait a minute.
Is Jamie Lee Curtis has a penis?
Right here. That.
He's waited for this night. He's waited for me.
I mean, you hear that?
I've waited for him.
And you know exactly.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's.
Did you know that there's a long-standing rumor that Jamie Lee Curtis is a hermaphrodite?
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Who knows if it's true?
Hey, you know what? It's Jamie Lee, man. It's Jamie Lee. I'm just saying, it's Jamie Lee.
I gotta say, I wouldn't really care. I can get down.
Oh,
a sheeness.
That right there. That right there.
So
see, I'm not opening up my closet tonight. I'm not doing it.
Look, it's late, so we can get to the late night talk. So is a sheeness like slang for just like she got a big old clit?
It's happening right now.
I think. Well,
wow.
I think
Wow.
drunk. I think drunk people.
Oh
To the rumor, not
no.
verifying.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's an internet rumor.
I had no idea. I'm so naive.
I don't think it really matters. In fact, I have a feeling, because she's a fairly outspoken person, that if she were, she'd be an advocate for transgender rights.
I think so.
I
think
have a
so
feeling
too.
it's not true, and it's probably just something ridiculous and embarrassing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a woman with. Okay. Well, there you go. Right from Steph. All right.
Okay.
Speaking of someone who is dead, or who should be dead and stay dead, here we go.
Okay, wait, before we press play. So Halloween is Jamie Lee Curtis's brother went to an insane asylum, broke out, and as F just said, maybe he embodies like evil and fear itself, so he keeps multiplying every time.
Was it her brother? Are the brother and sister? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Huh. Okay. See, it's been so long since I've seen.
And then Friday the 13th is just some rando kid. Like, it's been so long since I've watched any of these movies.
Oh, wow.
And after the first couple, like, there's no point. Dude's just back killing people who should know better. You know, it's like that. Is it a Geico commercial where they're like,
yes,
let's hide behind the chainsaws. Why can't we get into the running car?
And old boy's like,
what are you, stupid?
Yeah. Right. All right, here we go.
Did you know a young boy drowned today?
Yes.
They all have iconic sound, man. That's for sure.
And it's the same plot.
Oh yeah.
Young people going somewhere, having a bunch of sex.
There's a long-standing theory that this is these are like Christian revisionist movies. Like you're engaging in vice, you deserve to die.
Dude, I totally forgot about. Oh man. Oh wow.
And maybe Jaws is just a righteous killer. You shouldn't have taken your clothes off, young lady.
So let's fast forward a bit, because we know what's going on. We know what's happening. Oh, of course, the black man gets killed first. There you go.
Oh shit, man! You should hate horror movies the most.
I know, exactly. Yeah, we're the ones
we're all hanging out and like some bullshit goes down. It's like, well, Evan, you're just gonna have to walk outside, my friend. I don't know what to tell you.
We should just call black people canaries when it comes to the horror movie. Right. You know, it's like, we're the canaries, man. That's exactly what we are.
Hey, Evan, could you taste this food?
Hey, could you go out there to the garage real quick, Evan, while it's nice and dark and foggy?
Do you see that lone shining light out there in the woods? Go check on that. We're going to be in here fucking drinking.
Now, this next one is my boy.
Not in that order.
This next one is my boy right here, man. Come on now. You got to show some love for him.
I believe I've only ever seen the first one of these, Otter.
Okay.
So he's just a dream creature, right? That somehow made it to the human realm.
Well, I think this one, the 2010 version, I think this is him, and it shows how he was created.
How he became,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. How he became.
This
Freddy.
motherfucker killed Johnny Depp. I mean, come on.
It's hard to do that. It's
from producer Michael Bay. So some shit's getting blown up in this movie. You just fucking know it.
Dude, right there. Oh yeah. Oh, there you go. See, now here's the other thing.
These are good because they are a bit more psychological. You know, it's dealing with your brain. Where do you go inside your own head and that kind of shit? Now they get silly, but
it has an element. It has an element that the other ones were missing. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Sweater Game is strong. He's a horror Kurt Cobain.
Wait.
Or Charlie Brown, depending on how you look at it.
Charlie Brown. I'm trying to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, not the marks on her chest, but little kids Little kids in horror movies, dude.
with these creepy little dresses on. It's like it's like the little twins from
From, not Misery.
The Shining.
The Shining. Like, dude, that gets you every time. Like, I'm sorry, every time.
You'll have nothing to
Just
worry about.
kills me.
This won't hurt one little.
There you go. Don't fall. See, this shit. Why do we have to have this
Also,
program at 9?
It seems like that was being portrayed by he's kind of made a resurgence as an actor, but he was originally in Breaking Away, and then he was in
Jesse?
He was in the movie version of Watchmen. He played
the guy with where he would interrogate them.
Rorschach.
Silver.
Rorschach.
Yes. Rorschach. Yes. Okay. Very good. All right, man. Last one. You know, I gotta keep it real. Gotta keep it real, man.
Have you ever done it?
There. You say his name
This
5
white
times.
folks do this. I don't do no.
Cities
Look, see,
everywhere.
Candyman.
They whisper
But
his
what-
name.
sister girl, what are you doing there? You need to go.
Candyman.
It's just a story.
Well,
Candyman.
wasn't
Now,
that
she's
clearly?
fine.
Ghost story.
Candyman.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
That was the whitest of white girls.
An entire community starts
Exactly. Yeah. Now, what is this actress's name? Because she's fine, man. She's fine. I forget. That's not Virginia Madsen. What is her name?
Let me get to it. So this is the original, right?
Yeah.
Modern oral folklore.
Because I don't blame Candyman for coming back to her. Like, I'm like,
It
you
is
know what?
Virginia. It is Virginia Madsen.
It is Virginia Madsen.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah. She's that 90s fine. You know, she's that, you know, yeah. Yeah. That's the dance, the last dance fine.
She was
That's
the
Julia
narrator
Julia.
in Dune.
What?
She was the
No.
narrator in Dune. Yeah.
I had no idea, dude. No idea.
Also,
But
you can tell this. You can tell this is an old school movie trailer because it's the one guy who did movie trailer in a world.
In
A world where people
Candyman,
say, "In a world."
he just wanted one thing, and that was a white
White girl. A white
Dude,
girl
this
who
movie
thought
scared me.
she could handle it.
Scared me to death, bro.
Let's see. Candyman, Dune. She's in Sideways. I forgot she's in Sideways.
Oh wow, dude,
Uh,
that was a nice trip down memory lane.
She's in the
right
number
there, man.
23.
What?
She's in Highlander 2.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I had no
She's
idea.
in some shit.
Yeah.
Some
yeah.
some really shitty movies too.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. The Hey Aaron holiday movie trailer version. Yeah, extravaganza. There you go. So we have reached the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming. But before you leave, do not leave until you have experienced the second greatest part of this show, and that is Aaron sending us out with Aaron's final thoughts. My friend, love you, buddy. What do you have for us this week, my friend?
You know, as I mentioned earlier, I lost my good buddy, my Baxter. And for those of you keeping score at home, that's a bit more loss this year. That's another one. A mom and 2 pets. And while those are not quite the same thing, they were all family in one way or another. And that sucks. But along the way, I've done a lot of being angry, a lot of being mad at the world, a lot of being mad at me, doing a lot of dumb shit. And I'm not afraid to say I've started going to therapy. And I think just making this decision helped me begin feeling better. And I can tell you over the last little bit, I think it's probably a combination of things. Being back in our home after a lot of bullshit during the summer with the plumbing and flooring and all that stuff. Starting a new job and everything that entails. Trying to actively mourn and grieve in an appropriate way and move on in life. And just be a good person. And I feel good. I feel better. And this is me saying to all of you, if you're down, it does get better. And if you're really down, do not be afraid. You're literally looking at two people and probably reading the words of several other people who you may or may not even know, but would happily sit down with you and share a drink and just listen to you, share your thoughts and feelings with them. But going to somebody who actually knows what to do and how to ask you questions and help you create a journey of self-improvement. There's no substitute for that. So I'm here to say there is absolutely no shame in admitting that you need somebody else to talk to, because your significant other is sometimes the cause of your pain, and not in the worst way, but in a way that you need to talk to somebody else too before you can sort those feelings out. And sometimes they are. I've got a great social support group. I know I can talk to Evan. I know I've got several other friends that I can have conversations with and won't be judged by. But at the end of the day, they aren't trained. They aren't equipped to do anything more than be good friends and offer the life advice they know. They've not been trained on dealing with trauma. They may have experienced trauma and can share, can be empathetic and sympathetic, but we go to professionals for a reason. When you get the flu, you go to a doctor. When you get down, you go to another doctor. So folks, you're looking at two people who support you out there. So know that at a minimum, you got a couple folks. And more importantly, we're creating a little community here. We all probably have seen each other once or twice at our favorite watering hole, and we need to organize a show gathering.
Yes.
But in the meantime, know you're all loved. I love you, and I feel your love back. And don't be afraid to express that love and vulnerability, and it will be expressed right back to you. So thank you all for tuning in. I love you, and all goes up from here.
Black people vote, and Black people, it's okay to go to therapy, because I do too.
Love you all.
buddy.
Take care.